Good morning or afternoon, class. Happy Monday. So today, this is your weekly. There are 36 questions. Each page has 9 boxes on it. Each box has a set of questions or a question. So make sure you complete each box, front and back, all 2 pages, front and back. And so this will be due on Friday. When you finish your assignment today, you may work on your weekly. So make sure you get it done. If you finish it, turn it in the tray. Make sure that your name is on it. And this will be due on Friday. All right, next you have a foldable that looks like this. You saw this in your packet last Thursday, but we are going to put this in our notebooks. So get out your notebooks and get a pair of scissors. We're going to cut around the outside of the box. And then we're going to cut down the middle. We're going to cut these flaps, and you're going to glue the glue tab so that you can write underneath the flaps. You do not need your title. So let's work on getting it cut. If I get finished before you, you can pause it until you're ready to move on. So hopefully you had a nice weekend. You're ready to be back at school on Monday. I had a nice long drive to Alpine, Texas, which if you look on the map is in the middle of nowhere out in West Texas, to watch my son play football. And we spent a little time visiting the McDonald Observatory, or at least that is the plan. So hopefully when I come back I can tell you about what great stars we got to see and a little bit about the observatory. All right, so here is your foldable. You may actually have to overlap it just a bit to make it fit on your page. But what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to glue just the flap. So that we can still write behind these boxes. And for this one, we're going to do the same. We're going to glue just the glue flap. So that we can write behind these boxes. So when you have that all set up, kind of in the middle here, or at the top, I guess at the top, it's a little big, but at the top we're going to put density, even though you may not be able to see it unless your foldable is open. But we're going to put the word density. And you already know that the formula for density is mass divided by volume. And in our notes that we took this week, in our foldable, our packets that we did, actually last week, not this week, that taught you to write I heart density, with the M being the top of the heart and the V being the point of the heart. So that'll help you to remember the formula as well if you forget or you're struggling with that. But remember, that'll also be on your formula chart. All right, so let's look at the first question. It says a nugget of gold has a mass of 965 grams and a volume of 50 centimeters cubed. What is the density? Okay, well, first of all, we need to write our formula for density. So density equals mass divided by volume. So it tells us our mass is 965 grams. It's very important that we notice what we are looking for and we write it in the correct parts of our formula. So the mass is 965 grams, so that's going to go on the top. Divided by the volume. It has a volume of 50 centimeters cubed. So 965 grams divided by 50 centimeters cubed. If I work that out on my calculator, I would find that that answer is 19.3 grams per centimeter cube. Now remember, in the past we had to work this out by hand, so we actually would have worked this out. 965 divided by, say it here to yourself, 965 divided by 50. So if you will say that as you write it, it'll help you get the pieces in the right place, and we would have worked that out. Lucky for you, you get to use a calculator. So our correct answer is 19.3 grams per centimeter cubed. All right, look at the next problem. It says use the image below to find the density of a ring that has a mass of 32 grams. All right, so we know the mass is 32. Oops, that color is not going to work. We have a mass of 32, but we don't know what the volume is yet. So remember, we talked about and we have worked on finding the volume by displacement all year long. So we're going to look at this picture, and if we read this graduated cylinder, we can see there's 60 and 70, so it's counting by ones. So without the ring, we're at 61, 2, 3, 4, about 64. And with the ring, we're at 65, 66, 67, 68. So we would subtract 68 minus 64 and find there's a volume of 4 milliliters. So behind our flat, we're going to put our formula. Density equals mass divided by volume. Our mass, it tells us, is 32 grams. Divided by our volume that we just calculated by displacement of 4 milliliters. When we work that out, 32 divided by 4, simple division, 8 grams per milliliter. At the bottom, we see a rectangular prism. It says, what is the density of the rectangular prism if the mass is 90 grams? So again, it's giving us our mass, and this time we have to calculate volume by doing length times width times height. So the length is 5 times the width of 2 times the height of 1. So 5 times 2 is 10, 10 times 1 is 10, so our volume is 10 centimeters cubed. So to find our density, density is equal to mass divided by volume. So we're going to leave that with a mass of 90 grams as it tells us, divided by the volume of 10 centimeters cubed that we just calculated. And 90 divided by 10 would leave us with 9 grams per centimeter cubed. So that is those three. We have 3 different densities here on this foldable that we have done together. So the remaining 3 you need to do on your own. So again, here we have a cube. So you're going to have to find the volume, length times width times height, and use the mass. Here it's giving us the mass and the volume. We just have to calculate density. And here you're going to have to find the volume by displacement, and it's actually giving you the numbers. It's giving you the mass. So subtract to find your volume, use your mass, and find your density. So just like we did these, you need to fill in this side. Okay? So you need to finish your foldable, so you can stop the video, finish your foldable, and when you're done, you can close up your notebook, and then you'll get out your density practice questions. All right, so here are your density practice questions. So at the top, they have already taken our density triangle and they have written the formulas for you. So remember, density is equal to mass divided by volume. Remember that line there means divided by. If they're beside each other, we multiply. So there's our basic formula for density, mass divided by volume. If we're looking for mass, remember we cover up mass and we're left with density times volume. And if we're looking for volume, we cover up volume and we're left with mass divided by density. So they've already given us these 3 formulas. So on number 1, they gave us the mass and the density, and we must find volume. So we're going to use the formula that's finding volume. Mass divided by density. So mass divided by density is equal to volume. So we're going to take our mass and put it on the top, 36, divided by our density, which is 4. 36 divided by 4 is 9. And so that would be 9 grams per centimeters cubed. So the grams and grams are going to cancel out, and we're going to just be left with centimeters cubed. So 9 centimeters cubed. So we'll do the same thing for each one of these. If it's asking for density, make sure you use that formula. If it asks for mass, be sure you use that formula. Work out your problems here. You may use your calculator, but show the formula, put in the numbers, and write your answer. Make sure you write your answers in the blanks. Make sure you use the correct units. Then it has some questions for you, and you have to find all 3. Then it has another question, and you have to find all 3, and so forth. And when you get to the very bottom, it says, check sum. Correct answers in the shaded boxes added together will equal the checksum total. So you will take all of your answers that are in the shaded boxes and you will add them up, and if they are correct, they should equal 208.7. So that's just a way for you to check and make sure that your answers are correct. So on the back, you will work that page very similarly. The questions and the numbers are different. The next page, similarly. The back page, a little different. So on the back page, it says use the mass and volume information, calculate the density of each object and answer. Answer the question below using the metal density reference chart. So down here it has the density of metals. So aluminum has a density of 2.70. Copper has a density of 8.93, and so forth. So when you work out the problem, you set it up, you work it out. They got the answer of 2.701. They wanted to know what metal could this be. 2.70 was aluminum, and so they put the answer aluminum. So you will work yours out similar and find out what metal that could be, or if it could be made of a certain kind of metal, depending on its density. So when you finish this packet, all 2 pages front and back, you may turn it in the tray. Make sure that your name is on it before you turn it in, and then you may work on your weekly quietly at your desk. We will grade parts of this when I return, so make sure that you have it all complete. Remember that your weekly will be due on Friday. Remember to be on your best behavior. You are to be in your assigned seat. You are not to ask to leave the room for anything. You are not to be talking or disrupting class. You are not to be silly, or your name will be left by the sub. If it is, just keep in mind that is an automatic signature. I look forward to telling you about some interesting things from Alpine and from Fort Davis and the McDonald Observatory when I return. So have a great day. See you later. Bye.